but depending on where you're from, it could be afternoon. But if you don't recognize me, my name is James Nelly with Evidence Management Institute. I'm subbing in for Sean today. Sean happens to be in the beautiful city of Lubbock, Texas today for some family business. And he asked me to step in. So here I am. This is my first time doing a webinar. This is season 3, episode 4, I believe, of the Evidence Show. Evidence Show is simply that. It's a show about motorsports. So today we'll be installing a lift kit on the 1979 Bronco. No, just kidding. Actually, today we were supposed to talk a little bit about an agency spotlight. So for everyone that that's listening, if you don't know what agency spotlight is, it is a little video segment that we like to do when if an agency has something that they want to show off, something they're proud of. And it could be anything. It could be technology driven. It could be a procedure or a new tool, or maybe you got that shiny new gun buster in your evidence room and you want to show that off. We'd love to come out, kind of video yourself, tell us a little bit about your department, some stats maybe, and then take a look at what you have to show. I think it's really cool because being in evidence for almost 30 years, I love to see other agencies that have something that they do, whether it's a tool, technology, a process, or whatnot. I think that's very cool. And a lot of times folks can adapt something similar to their units as well. So that's what we're supposed to be talking about today. However, we're digressing, we're shifting a little bit. And today, well, before we get started, let's talk a little bit about our Facebook management. I did talk a little bit about the evidence management page on Facebook. If you haven't become a member yet, I would highly recommend it. It's a great forum to put in some questions, or if nothing else, just to keep an eye on what the dialogue is and see if anything applies to your unit. We have some superstar people on the evidence management Facebook page. And I want to thank folks for continuing to post on there, putting up questions about things, and I really want to thank those folks that have taken the time to respond to those. I know some of the names that I see on a regular basis is like Jake Wilburn. If you're out there, I hope you're having a good day. And Ryan Connolly. I see Ryan's name quite a bit, so I appreciate your help on answering some of those questions when I can't get there. In lieu of Sean not being here, let's continue on my look. I hope everybody can see the screen. I think people can. Obviously, Tracker Products is one of our partners, and without them, we wouldn't be here. So we do definitely have to say thank you each and every time, and we appreciate everything that Tracker has done for evidence management. The support and getting the word out has been greatly appreciated. Also, our website, evidencemanagement.com, is where we live. All of our information, including the upcoming training dates, is on our website. So there it is there, evidencemanagement.com. Let's take a look at some of the upcoming training dates. Oh, before we do that, let's talk about state associations. For those of you that are in a state that does not have a state association for property and evidence yet, Sean is very big on implementing associations, just because of the ability for folks to meet, network, share information. It's very critical. I just recently came back from my state seminar, the Cape California Association of Property Evidence. This year it was held in San Diego. It was actually supposed to be in San Diego 3 years ago, in 2020, 2 years ago. And we've missed it several times due to the pandemic. So it was amazing this year. It was so great to get to see friends that we haven't seen for quite a long time from different parts of the state. And I would just give a big thank you to all the members of CAPE, the state board, and the seminar team that put on just another amazing state seminar this year. The training this year was just beyond great. They always do the uh, introduction to evidence or some of the basic stuff for the new people, and I did see a ton of new people this year. So it was exciting to see some folks replace other friends of mine that have retired and moved on and so forth. But the state seminar was beautiful right in the Pacific Beach area of San Diego. The Bahia Resort, just amazing. I can't speak highly enough about that. So if you're from a state that does not have a state association and you'd like to form a board, or you'd like to perhaps get a little bit more information about what is entailed in starting a association, please feel free to reach out to Sean. Sean is always available to talk about implementing new boards for different states. So you'll see on your screen, those are the current states that are represented with a state association. So if you don't fall in that area, maybe you could talk to some folks in your local area and reach out collectively to Sean. His email is shenderson@evidencemanagement.com. Cool. All right. So we have some dates coming up and some things that I'm really excited to talk about. Certification training. We just completed one last week or 2 weeks ago in Houston, Harris County. But we do have some more dates coming up, a few in California, Cincinnati, as you can see, and Georgia. These are the 2-day certification training. So I'd love to see some more of our folks coming from the Northern California area for the Folsom class, July 6th and 7th. Also followed the next week in Paso Robles, July 12th and 13th. And as you can see, August 16th, 17th, Cincinnati, August 22nd and 23rd in Coronado, California, which thanks to our friends at Coronado, including Sandra Murillo, we were able to make this dream come true. August 24th and 25th, I will talk a little bit about that in the next slide, but that is just huge news. And then obviously September 21st, 27 in Austell, Georgia, hosted by our good friends at Cobb County Police Department. So that's what we have. If you are interested in hosting a training either for this year or next year, or you have a nice facility that that would work, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email is jnally and the last name is Nally with a Nally at evidencemanagement.com as well. Let's take a look here. Okay, something I'm very passionate and very excited to talk about is our first ever Evidence Management Institute Advanced Evidence Workshop. So me being in my career for almost 30 years in the evidence unit, and a lot of you folks out there that are veteran evidence officers, we have probably been collectively to more trainings than we can ever keep track of. And I know in the beginning of your career, you probably went to a few trainings that may have been way outside of your knowledge base. But over time, you kind of pick it up and you don't really, it seems to me, and I could be wrong, but it seems to me that we don't really have an avenue in our industry for folks that have been on for a long time, and maybe they need to sharpen some of the more complex skills of working in property and evidence. So over the years, I've created this workshop that's really recommended for folks that have at least 6 years of experience. This workshop is actually, I think it's actually very cool. It's scenario based. So it's a workshop where you're going to be working in groups of 4 to 6 people. You're going to be handed some complex scenarios that are everyday things in some units, and try to put together the best course of action on how to handle those things. I call it sharpening your flow chart, your property evidence flow chart. And we all know what that is, right? That's from the moment you pick up the phone at your office and try and figure out who that caller is and what the purpose of their call is, and routing them to the right location or schedule an appointment and all that, and all the things that come up in between. So that is definitely going to be a lot of fun. So that's day 1 of that workshop. Day 2, we start getting into professionalism, leadership, and there's really not too much that has to do with evidence in the second day, because it's more about developing a budget. It's about staffing, personnel issues, how to write memos to your command staff. Very important things that I think we just, in our career path or lack thereof, we don't always get any type of ongoing training. So we've created this advanced officer workshop. It's going to be amazingly fun. There's going to be evening activities that are optional, whether you elect to do that or not. But I can just tell you, if you've never been to Coronado, California, it's a small island off the coast of San Diego. Everything, everywhere you look is beachfront property. It's just an amazing, amazing location to have a nice, relaxing, enjoyable workshop seminar. So, okay, I think I've touted that enough. Let's move on. So, let's see where we're at here today. So today's show is about thinking outside the box. And I don't necessarily want to call today a training. I would rather call today a message. And it's a message from me, but also I would hope that you could reciprocate some of the ideas that you may have come up back to me, so we can share those with other folks over the years. And thinking outside the box and inside the circle, what does that mean? That sounds kind of crazy, right? So let's talk about identifying your issues. And if I knew how to spell properly, then it would say identify your issues. So where are your issues in your unit? We all have issues, right? I mean, I've only met one perfect property room so far, and they now have issues. So figure out what your issues are. Are your issues in dispositions, intake, your tickler files or lack thereof, and right of refusals? What we're talking about today is, instead of just going with the flow, coming up with some ideas that's kind of outside the box. And we'll dive a little deeper into this. Let's say we have some issues with our disposition. We want to create a solution. How do we create a solution? Well, automation is one area. Some folks do have a tickler file based on could be a crime code or could be any other piece of information that's specific to that case that you're able to query and find out some information about your statute of limitations. So here's a good example. I've seen so many different softwares in the last year or so that have come up with different forms of tickler files, right? That's kind of outside the box. If you have an issue with dispositions, don't always just think, well, it's just a workaround. We're going to have to just work a little harder to try and figure this out. If there are ways to automate, say, to your county courthouse or your DA's office, if you can get into those types of things into their database, a lot of times it makes it a lot easier to get the information you need to make educated decisions on disposition, right? All right, let's see. I'd really love to know, like, how many folks have tickler files, because we in my unit we don't necessarily have tickler files. We actually use the year to start determining disposition status. But I could see how having a tickler file in your system would remind you when those items are ready for disposition. All right, maybe your issue is in intake, like you're having problems with your officers packaging your evidence correctly. I don't think anyone would ever have problems with that, but in the event that you did, what are some things that you could do thinking outside the box? Well, creating a packaging manual, that's definitely one way. Not too outside the box. I think a lot of folks already have packaging manuals and so forth. But how about attend briefings? How about that? Like, maybe talk to folks in briefing and ask if anyone has questions on packaging, or maybe even do a demonstration on the the one item that's most miscommonly packaged. How about give out? I put give out monsters. I heard not too long ago from an agency in California that when an officer is booking in property, if they do a good job or it was something that was really unique that they had to book in and package, sometimes they'll give out energy drinks or just little trinkets to say thank you for a job well done. And that might sound kind of crazy, but that's out of the box thinking, right? I mean, if if a if you're developing a relationship and building a rapport with your patrol guys or investigations, you give them a nice trinket. It just means a lot, and that reciprocates as well. I know with our agency, whenever our homicide guys come back from court and it's been a successful day in court, and maybe they've put away a homicide suspect for life without possibility of parole or something, they will always come in and congratulate us as part of the prosecution team, and they will always bring us a little trinket of thanks, whether it's donuts or energy drinks or something like that. It kind of makes you feel special, makes you feel like what you did went to a good, you put in your time and you got a little result out of that. But we don't ever do anything for the expectation of reward, but it's always nice when someone recognizes that. Or you can actually create a packaging help kiosk. If anyone's never seen this, our agency created a packaging kiosk a while back. And if you want to take a look at it, you can find it on one of the earlier posts in the evidence management community on Facebook page. But basically what it is it's a computer monitor that you can go to, touch screen, and it shows, it gives you a step-by-step tutorial, a video tutorial on how to book in some of the most commonly mispackaged items. And we've had that for a couple of years. That started as a result of the lengthy, time-consuming process of identifying an item, sending a right of refusal notice to the officer, waiting for that response, waiting for them to come down and make that, then you pull the item again to make the correction. I'm speaking to the choir. I'm sure you've all dealt with that. But the good thing about it is after we implemented that program, and of course we have over 14 substations, so putting those monitors with that information at every substation was a pretty monumental task. But once we were done, we noticed that a list of the common items that we had put tutorials out for, we were getting probably about a 30% efficiency rating on that, meaning that 30% of the right of refusal notifications had gone down. We increased our efficiency. So anyway, packaging kiosks, it's kind of a little time consuming, but if you keep having repeat offenders on the same thing and training, education hasn't helped, maybe the packaging solution or the booking kiosk would help your agency. I think the younger generation enjoys watching videos and kind of learning from that. So maybe that was been part of our success with that. Let's take a look. All right. What else? What are some other unique things that you could think of that's thinking outside the box? I mean, truly, the possibilities are limitless. I like to walk around the unit from time to time and just take a look and say, hey, are we and I'll ask my other staff, hey, are we doing things as efficiently as possible? Do you think there's anything that we can do technology-wise or whatnot? And sometimes folks have their concerns with our system, our technology, thinking maybe we can add a specific field in or something to capture information that we hadn't captured before. I mean, things are changing all the time in our unit. And to me, it seems like right now, one of the biggest changes that we're dealing with is powered evidence. And I'm sure some of you folks are trying to discuss keeping chain of custody and keeping a phone or tablet or any type of electronic digital device powered on after it gets booked in. So those are really unique things, and coming up with some outside the box processes would definitely help with that. But my point is we're always going to have new trends, new things to deal with. This week, it's powered evidence. Next week, it could be a new drug. So keep your mind open. Some of the ideas we came up with today was attend some other state association training. I just mentioned the Cape California Association of Property Evidence just had their week-long state seminar. However, you have the Property Association in Florida. Their PF is in 2 weeks, and their conference this year is going to be it's going to be in May 23rd through the 25th. And this year looks like it's going to be in Daytona Beach. So there's an example of just because you live in, say, Washington or you live in North Carolina, it doesn't mean that you can't travel and go to PF and enjoy their conference as well. And maybe you'd learn something a little different, because sometimes things are regional. I see evidence streams are a little bit different in Northern California than they are in Southern California. So that's just an example. Create a tool or process for a specific task. I had a really good example of that, but right now I'm drawing a blank on what it was, but I'm sure you can answer that yourself. If you've ever come up with something, you say, hey, it would really be nice to have a blank over here. And it could be something as simple as an inbox, a basket with an inbox for incoming dispositions, to a new piece of office equipment, say a new cart that you use to take evidence to your warehouse. So the possibilities are limitless. Also consider outside entities to learn from. A while back when I was involved with the local chapter board at Cape, I came up with an idea to go to Amazon. Why would we go to Amazon? Like, what does Amazon have? Well, I've always heard that Amazon has one of the most intense database management systems, most elaborate and one of the most cutting edge. So we did organize a trip. We got a hold of folks at Amazon. We organized a trip to their fulfillment center in San Bernardino. And it was a great positive experience. We actually gleaned a lot of information based on their process that some of us have taken back to our agency and are using now at our agency. So it's things like that, like thinking outside the box. I want to tease something real quick. Just recently, I went to a theme park. I won't say which one, but they have mouse ears on all of their hats. And I wanted to tour their property room. I've been trying to work on that for 6 years, since 2016. And that opportunity just finally presented itself. We're going to talk about that next time on the Evidence Show. So I got a little ahead of myself. But getting back to thinking outside the box, which was exactly what my point was with Disneyland, is, oh, did I say that out loud? My point is that sometimes other entities, even if they're not in law enforcement or property evidence, have specific tasks and specific duties that parallel what we do. And we can always learn from other entities as well. And then finally, look for resources in your community. What does that mean? Well, not too long ago, we had an unfortunate issue in our area, and we needed some freezer space. So we started looking around the county, and other than contacting a vendor and spending thousands of dollars a month to rent freezer space, we were able to utilize some county resources and wound up getting some temporary freezer systems in Conex boxes to help out with an issue that we're having. So that's just my point. Like, try to think outside the box. Try to learn from other people, other entities, and hopefully that time frame when it pops up, you'll already have an idea of who you're going to call or what you're going to do when some issue happens in your unit. A lot of that's based on catastrophic recovery, which is an element that we teach in the certification class as well. All right, if you guys have anything specific that we're talking about today with the whole think outside the box theme, please let me know. I would love to include that on a later episode. We can talk about things that you do and maybe bring some of that back to the show at a later time. But I always love hearing stuff, and I think everyone else does, because then you immediately apply that to your unit and say, oh, would that work good in my unit? Or that's kind of a waste of time. But anyway, feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us at shenderson@evidencemanagement.com or janealley@evidencemanagement.com. All right, so next time on the Evidence Show, I teased it enough. I think we can let it go, but it's Disneyland. We actually got a really amazing tour of their Lost and Found section. I had heard for many years that Disney had this amazing process in which they were able to reunite folks with their lost property. In some cases, before they left the park. In some cases, the items were in their mailbox before they even returned home. So very cool. I think you're going to love it. It's pretty spectacular to think just of volume alone, how much property they take in per day, and how much of that gets reunited with their owner. So maybe we can learn some things from the way they do business at the Magic Kingdom. But for next time, next time I'm sure Sean will probably be back. I'm so sad that I can't share with you again. But looks like our next episode is going to be June 16th. The topic will be our agency spotlight with the Magic Kingdom. So I really hope that you're able to make it next time. Let's answer a few questions here. And if you have any questions, feel free to just type it into the question screen on your computer. Let's see, Rosa McNeely. We have an excellent packaging manual, but even with that, we still have to turn property away with your right of refusal. That's a great, that is definitely a great assessment, because just because you have a property manual doesn't mean that you have every circumstance and every different type of evidence covered in your packaging manual. There's always going to be things, and I'm still surprised at things that come in from time to time that you're just like, WT, you know the rest, right? So thanks, Rosa. Let's see what else. Some folks do have a tickler file. Some folks do like our unit, and they review your records by the year that they were booked in, which I think is very common. Let's see. Deb Parkin. Okay, their tickler file is also the date. All right. Well, does anybody else have any questions? I'll wait a few seconds to see if there's any more questions. Love to hear about, I definitely would love to hear about anything that you've created or you've come up with over the years that has helped your unit, anything that's outside the box. And also, if you would be interested in having EMI come to your agency and take a look at something that you're proud of, or something that you created that's special, even if you just have a good, cool group of friends at your unit, please feel free to email us. We really love to hear about it and maybe even come out and talk. So, oh, we got some more questions rolling on. Let's see. Oh, the seminar again for PF, Daytona Beach, Florida. It is May 23rd through the 25th. You can find the information on PF's website, which I don't have. Oh, it's their website is www.pfpeaf.net. So let's see what else. Oh, let's see. Some folks have had some amazing experiences and learned some really helpful things working in other areas that they were able to apply to their duties as an evidence officer. That's very awesome. All right, so I'm getting some good responses, and I would love to share those responses in another forum where we can kind of break it down and talk about some cool things that other agencies have done, thinking outside the box. So let's see if there's any more questions. Nope, starting over again. All right, well, that looks like about all I have for you guys today. I'm very happy that you tuned in and hung out with me for the last half hour. We're really happy to be a part of this evidence show webinar, and we hope to see you again in the very near future. So have a great day, everyone. Take care.